Hello everyone, this is Bill Giannone at the Crest Network, welcoming you to a short tutorial on restoration project planning. Today we want to talk about the idea of the PM and what they're supposed to be doing as they are heading out to the project and trying to secure your restoration project. As your PM or your first responder, you have the responsibility to get to the project heading in the right direction. You have to make sure that when you show up, everything starts on the right foot. It's very, very difficult to keep a project running in the right direction if you're heading in the wrong direction at the start. That seems simple, but how many of us spend the time to actually prepare our first responders or our PMs for such a task? I'm here to try to make it simple for you, and I'm here to try to give you a couple of easy steps. There are three primary tasks of a first responder, and I call them the project manager or the PM. They should be a person that has a ton of knowledge about your business and your company. They are the face to your client. Very few of us, unless we're still working out in the field, and hopefully if you're a member of the Crest Network, you're hoping to be working in your business, on your business, not in your business. So you're a lot of time spending your time in the office and not on a truck. But if you're not on a truck, your PM or your first responder is the face of your company. They are the first person that the client sees, and their impression is very, very vital to your ultimate success. So make sure that they reflect well on your company. Let's go over these three simple steps for your first responder to understand that they have to do, and they have to do well, and then that'll set your project off in the right direction. I call them the three S's. Just remember, three S's. The first one is sign. Obviously, it's logical, but without a properly signed contract or work authorization, nothing else can take place. You need to make sure you have this work authorization in place because, guys, a lot of us don't understand. Going into someone's house without authorization, written authorization, puts you at great legal liability. God forbid things happen in that home, your company will be responsible for them. Even if you didn't do them, with the absence of a contract, there's a lot of gray areas. So let's make sure we get a work authorization or a contract signed, okay? Most of the times, if we don't know the extent of the work yet, it's going to be more of a work authorization, which is kind of a blanket permission to allow us to go do our work, knowing that an invoice will be coming in the future. If you do take the time to prepare an estimate for them, obviously that would be tied into a contract with a price amount. But either way, let's make sure the first S is sign. Get the documentation signed. The next S is sketch. It's very important for most of us who do residential work to do a proper sketch. Again, if you're using Xactimate or any other kind of automated software, most of the calculations are what they call unit price calculations. If you're removing baseboard, it's by the linear foot of baseboard. If you're removing flooring, it's the square footage of the flooring being removed. So when you enter those items to Xactimate, the most important aspect of those lines is not what you're typing in, it's the sketch measurements, the accurate dimensions that you're making prior to writing up your invoice in Xactimate. Understand that that's vitally important. And if you can see on this drawing here, you'll notice that these drawings are down to the inch. Don't round things off. Be very specific. Be really specific as to where your doors and your windows are. If there are missing walls anywhere, be very specific in all those factors. These are vital to making sure that you maximize your invoice by having accurate measurements. You're also going to need to make sure you have accurate measurements to make sure your guys know what they're supposed to do later on. And that ties into our third S, the scope. Your first responder, after he signs the project and sketches out the rooms, should absolutely be determining the scope of work to be done. Whether it's a first responder who's also a crew leader and will ultimately do the work, he shouldn't start ripping and tearing things out without having a full established scope of work done first. This is a very, very big issue. A lot of our members run into this problem where if they send out a crew and a crew leader might be the guy doing the work, they don't take the time to write down and establish a scope of work. This is vital. You have to do this, and you should do your best to communicate that to your client before starting. You want to set expectations, and setting those expectations involves a time frame as well. You don't want to leave them with an open mindset as to, oh my goodness, look at this damage, this is going to be terrible. Set that scope of work, tell them exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. Make sure you let everybody know, be as specific as you can as to what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And then make sure that you also have that scope of work available to give over to the adjuster as well. If the insurance company's involved, they will want to know what you're doing. It's very, very important if you've got that done prior to starting your work. It's very important that you can communicate that as well. Remember, we're there to be a trusted worker, a trusted asset to this client in their time of need. The way to build that trust is to be open and transparent. Getting the paperwork is the first step. Sketching out the lost site is the second step, and setting a full elaborate scope that your crews will follow for a successful project is the third step. From this point, then it's just a matter of execution. I want to thank you for joining us for this brief little instructional video. On behalf of everyone at the Crest Network, my name is Bill Giannone. I wish you all a very happy day. Thanks. Bye-bye.